Hey, what's going on YouTube? I wanted to post a video on my Avast marine made 2-liter Zeovit Reactor, and this is the U-Made kit version. So I got my aquarium here, and I'm posting some videos as I build things, kind of talking about how I'm building them and trying to help other people out in case they want to build something custom. I did a lot of research, and I really like the Zeovit system. So I wanted to find a reactor. There really aren't too many of them, and there's not very many automatic ones, and there's definitely not very many that you can just buy a kit and build it yourself. So I ordered the kit. It came well packaged, looked good. You know, it's a good kit. It has all the parts you need to put it together, as well as all the supplies you need to be able to glue things and all that kind of stuff. Really good value. So I got it, and of course, you know, the first thing I want to do is change things. So if you can see my sump, it's mostly kind of a red and white, you know, acrylic pieces and PVC pieces. So the kit is mostly kind of a black and white look. This makes absolutely no difference in how it operates, but I wanted to change some pieces, so I'll kind of go through what I modified, and then I'm going to run it a little bit, and you can kind of hear about how loud it is, and I'll show you how I plumbed it into my system. So first off, starting at the bottom, there's basically a motor in here. It has an off-center weight, so that when it spins around, that causes the vibration. For example, these pieces, let me show you here. These are the pieces that came with it. These are just PVC pipe. I didn't really like the dark look. Kind of most of my sump's pretty white. So I just cut some pieces of PVC myself and swapped it out. I do recommend if you're gonna cut pieces like this and you want a repetitive cut that is perfect, use a compound miter saw if you have one, and set it up with a stop. So that every time you put the piece in, it cuts exactly the same size and length. Definitely makes things a lot easier. So while we're down here, my sump is a little bit small. So to get it to fit in my sump and give me some clearance around the edges, so that it wasn't rattling against the wall, I actually ended up chopping off some of the lower ring, I guess, if you want to say it that way. And that gave me a little bit more room to work with. You know, I think they just built it that way to give it a bigger base. It doesn't really make much difference, so I just picked a point where it wouldn't affect these little feet, and I just chopped it off, and that made it a little narrower, which made it fit between my my sump and the polycarbonate wall here. Moving up, didn't really change anything here, but then right here, this piece again was this kind of gray looking pipe. I'm using a lot of red in my aquarium. I kind of like the look of that, and so I just took that piece, and it's 1/2-inch pipe, and you know, I had a little bit laying around, so I cut a piece and put it on in there. And then getting to the top here, this came with these type fittings. They're fine. I mean, I kind of prefer the RODI type fittings. They're kind of cleaner and easier to work with, easier to pull things apart and that kind of stuff. So so I swapped these out for RODI fittings. Again, you know, just got the same diameter NPT pipe threads, so this wouldn't have to be modified, and then just switched it out here. And then the last thing I did, and you can't really see this too much, but there were a lot of machining marks on this because they had CNC cut this, and you know, it didn't look the best. It definitely didn't look polished like this, where it's real clean. When you look at something like the Vertex pieces, like every piece has been just polished and cleaned and put together really well. So I kind of wanted to get the craftsmanship up to that level, so I did the same thing. So does this make any difference on how this operates? Absolutely not. Does it make me feel better about my sump? Yeah. Is it kind of fun to mess around with? Yeah, it's kind of something to, you know, kind of do and get your mind off of other things. So just how I plumbed it, I've got the return line coming from down here. Maybe you can see, I don't know, it might be hard to see, but basically the return pump is down there in the back of the sump. Runs up. I've got one of these true union valves. And then I originally had this going straight into a lily pipe connection up there, and then I just built this little T to bring water off. I used a gate valve. Again, I like those for really nice flow control. Then it comes down here, switches over to these Murloc 1/2 inch push fit connections, and then down here, and then goes to the bottom, comes up through where the Zeovits would be, picks up the mulm, which is basically kind of the bacterial film that forms on the outside of the Zeovits, and picks up the mulm, goes down, and then that actually goes down to the return pump where it gets pulled back up into the display tank, where that mulm can be used to feed your corals. So to shake the mulm off, they recommend that twice a day you shake the mulm. Sounds funny, right? So anyhow, here is the motor in action to see about how loud it is and kind of how it works. So give me 1 second here, let me plug it in. So it's not exactly quiet, but it's doing a really, really nice job of just shaking the heck out of this thing. You can kind of see it right there. You know, I might end up putting some more sound isolation pads under here or something, but to be honest, it's only going to run twice a day, so it's kind of something that, you know, whatever. It makes a little bit of noise twice a day, but it's really all you have to run it for is 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the evening, and pretty much it's done. So really happy with the Avast Marine kit. They did a really nice job of kind of sourcing all the parts, getting everything ready for you, and then you can change stuff. You know, you can swap out fittings or things you don't like or colors or whatever, and kind of make it your own. So and I love that they're a USA company. You know, that's really cool that it's made in USA and you can modify it right here in the USA, so that's kind of cool. All right, I hope this helps somebody, and good luck.